This is Jack Gardiner here. Welcome to the Cover Tune Chop Shop episode 2. Today's episode we're going to be taking a look at the tune Bang Bang by Jessie J. Now Jessie J is a singer from the UK. She's got an incredible voice. I was lucky enough to see her live twice. I saw her back in Liverpool and I saw her here in Zermatt. She's always got an amazing band with her. I believe the guitarist is a guy called Matty Spatz. He is ridiculously sounded killer live. But her old guitar player is a guy called Mateus Asato. Now, if you're not familiar with him, I don't know where you've been the past few years, this guy is astonishingly good. Such a tasty player. So yeah, after seeing her live, I kind of thought, it'd be cool to actually have a go at one of her tunes, especially the arrangement they did of this tune. So I spoke with keyboard player friend of mine, a guy called Jack Hymas, who, again, ridiculous, he's based in Liverpool. And so we decided to come up with that little version, which you've just heard now. So, as always with the Cover Tune Chop Shop, what we're going to do first is take a look at what's going on, how we can accompany it. We're going to look at the harmony, and then, of course, we're going to look at that solo, which I just played. So yeah, let's dig in. Let's take a look at the harmony first, how we can accompany it, and how we can mess with it, basically. So basically, most of this song centers around a kind of C7 vamp. So that's a C dominant 7. And she basically uses the melody to change how that feels. But if we take then, say, a shell voicing, so that's just the 3rd and 7th and the root. So in C7 we just need the major 3rd, the flat 7 or the minor 7, and the root. Let's take this shape up here. So we've got the flat 7 on the 8th fret of the D string, and we have the major 3rd on the 9th fret of the G. And we could basically just slide in from a semitone below, backwards and forwards, so you get this. And then obviously we can play the root C down here. So in the tune it's mainly going. You get the idea. So that leaves us with tons of options. Before we do that though, let's just take a look at another shell voicing that you could use. So you could use this one down here. So we've got basically the 3rd is going to be on the 2nd fret of the D string, and the flat 7 is going to be on the 3rd fret of the G. We're just again going to slide in from a semitone below, so we get this, and then the root. You get the idea. So that's basically the fundamental. You can even hear the melody in there is almost like a blues lick. So that kind of sound, it's basically staying a C7. Obviously with a dominant 7 we've got tons of options. We could throw in altered chords and it's all going to sound cool, whether that's in your comping or whether that's in your soloing. It's all going to work. So, I mean, let's take a look, though, at how me and Jack kind of arranged it for this backing track. So, yeah, let's dig into that. So, let's look at what we can do then to kind of spice up the rhythm playing of this tune or arrange it slightly differently. Like I say, on the original, it's just like over a C7 vamp. What we're going to do, and what me and Jack kind of decided, was that we're going to change how the bass line moves so we can add extra chords in there. Kind of like dirty loop style stuff. So basically the rhythm all the way through is this. And I'm going to either play root notes or power chords basically while I let Jack take the harmony. But we can talk about those kind of voicings that he's using in a second. But first let me just walk you through what the bass line goes like. So I'm essentially going the root, which is C. Then I'm going to A, which would be the 6th. That's B flat, which is the flat 7 if we're in C. Then we're going to G, which is the 5. Then we're going to D, which is the natural 9th or 2. And then we go into the flat 9, which would be D flat or C sharp, to take us back home to C, which is the root. So I'll play that all together, then we should get something like this. It's like... So on those last two chords, you can see I actually put the fourth below the root. That just gives the impression that it's either detuned or it's like a 7-string. You can do that whenever you've got a power chord. If you want to make it sound beefier, you can get this. This kind of sound. If my high string didn't hide behind the pickup, that's something that needs to be fixed. But those chords just sound really heavy. Now, if we take a look then at the voicings which Jack is using, seems then he's basically using like a C7 for the first one. For the next one it's kind of like an A minor 7, I guess you'd say. And then he goes this almost like B flat, sus4 you'd say, with the major 6 in there. So the root movement so far, with the root movement so far it's like this, it's like C7. Then we've got this A minor 7. That's that B flat 6 kind of sus4 sound, if you like, or 11. Then we've got, after that, he goes to an F over G, so I'm just going to play like an F triad. The next chord is a weird one, so he's playing, the root note is D, and he's going to voice it like this. He goes kind of like D, and then we've got G sharp, so that's kind of like the sharp 11 or sharp 4. Then we've got the sharp 5 as well, and then the root as well. And then the next chord that he uses then, so we're going to play like a D flat as the root or a C sharp, and we get this kind of sound, which is like a minor 6th with the 9th on top. Let's take us back to C. So those voicings should sound a little bit like this. He's going... That's the idea. On a keyboard, it sounds nicer because they can play these clusters. Like there's, especially with the this kind of D sharp 11 sharp 5 kind of sound. I think Jack would probably voice it more like this, where he's got, and then he'll have a B flat next to that, which is just impossible. We can't do that. So yeah, that's the idea. But yeah, let's move on then. So in the verse itself, all I'm really doing is going, that just carries on right the way throughout. It's just stabbing on this C essentially. But let's move on to the chorus then, where things get again a little bit more interesting. So in this chorus part then, there's some interesting things going on again. We're just basically moving the bass line to accommodate more chords, to reharm if you like. So, like I say, the original is all of C7. We're changing that. So we're going to go something like this. So what's actually going on there then? So we've got C, which is the tonic or the root. So now we're going to this A flat, which against C is the flat 6, but we're going to play a major chord there. So like a major 6/9 maybe. And then on the next time we're going to go, that's an A minor, and then we're going to this, which is the B flat major kind of sound. I'm playing like a 6/9, I guess there, right? Major 6 chord there. So far. Then it's going to go back to A minor, back to this B flat, and then we're going to go like before. I think Jack is voicing this something like this, and then to, and then back to C. So that is like what we had right at the beginning. Again, it's just adding flavour. Whenever you're reharming these kind of things, you've got to be really conscious of the melody that these chords fit. Luckily, the way that Jack has harmonised these, it fits really nicely. It's got that, like I said earlier, almost like Dirty Loops flavour to it. So yeah, that whole section's slow again, so it's... move on and take a look then at what I did in the solo, in the lead playing over the top. So the first lick of the solo then is kind of like a rock idea. All I'm doing is I'm sliding on the high E string into the 22nd fret and then bending it up a full tone before I pick the 20th fret on the way back down. So you can really slide from anywhere. I put the 10th fret on the transcription, but the idea then is to just give it this oomph factor. So we get loads of vibrato, make it as silly as you want. And then right at the end there's a little tag on the 22nd fret on the B string, so we get, before we go into this kind of pentatonic lick then, which I would view as like almost like C major pentatonic, so we get, so all that is then we're bending up full tone on the 20th fret, then there's the 17th fret on the high E, and then we're going to go 17th fret on the B, 20th fret, that's 19 on the G to 17 on the B. So, now in there's a tiny little slide which you'll see on the transcription, that is on the G string. It's just a typical kind of blues idea, seeing as we're playing over a C7 chord, why not? So again, those first two licks. Now we've basically got a kind of octave lick. Again, I'm viewing this very much as like C major pentatonic. So we're going to start on the 17th fret on the G. Now I hybrid pick this, so I'm going to go basically G string, skip to the high E, and play the octave. Same thing on the D. And then this one, all we're doing is sliding the 17th to the 19th and back down to the 15th. So we're going to G, the 5 of C if we like so. Now we're going to get into a much more complex lick then. So let's dig into that. It's going to use a ton of legato. So with this lick then, we're going to be using a ton of legato and a few slides, a few awkward position shifts then. So I'm basically thinking of an F major 7 type arpeggio for the first half. I'm starting on the note D, so I'm going to get this. I think I actually slide into that last note, so we go. Exactly, so we're going to be in this kind of position, which I view as almost like F major pentatonic there. So again, very slow. Now from here, we're basically descending down like this F major pentatonic with a few extra notes thrown in, so we get. Stop right there before we go into this kind of G altered idea. So I'm viewing this almost as like the 5 chord, you could view it as, and I'm going to play this kind of arpeggio shape. Basically slides back down there at the top, so we're back on the note G before we go into the main melody. So that whole lick very slow goes something like this. We go. Now right at the end of that, I play an open G string and dive bomb into a harmonic, which is a natural one on the 5th fret. So we just get that note G again, just a bit more rock if you like. So yeah, full lick with that harmonic then. We've got. Into the main melody basically from there. So with this next part, I'm basically focusing on trying to emulate Jessie J's voice as much as I can with the melody that she sings. It's very pentatonic based. So we start off basically on the minor third, but it's bent up into the major third. It's not quite there though. I mean, I could do a whole different video on why this works. I'm sure it's been covered before. But when you're bending that minor third into the major third, it's not quite all the way there. I think it's actually been proven that it's slightly flat, and that's where we get all the juice from. That's where we get the blues from, if you like. So, I mean, that... all the feel comes from this bend not being 100% in tune. So, first little lick then, we're going to start off on the 11th fret of the high E, or the minor third going into the major third. So we get this. Nice and simple. Now there I'm just bending in on the last note, the flat 7 into the root. You can phrase that however you want. That's the beauty of this melody. So long as you think in vibrato, you think in manipulating notes with bending and stuff like that. And the next time we're basically going to do a very similar thing. Again, very much C minor pentatonic. So there I am actually bending in the minor third into the fourth, back to the root, before we go into this kind of octave choppy idea then. So again, very slow. 3, 4. So next bars is really straightforward. All we're going to do is take octave chords from the note C basically, up here on the D string and the B string. We're going to go. Now this next one's going to be the major 6 into the flat 7. So that is basically, again, we go root, major 6, flat 7. And then to lead us back into C, we're going to do the whole. So that is just the flat 3 into the major 3, root at the end. So again, very quickly. 3, 4. Back into this main melody then, so. That is basically, again, C minor pentatonic. When I'm bending the 4th into the 5th, back down, minor 3rd, back up again, and then I'm going to bend the minor 3rd into the 4th if I can get it. And then back to the root. That's actually a bit of a strain on the first finger, I can feel it definitely there. So we've gone. Again, with all of these melodies that I'm playing from the original track, it's so open to interpretation. Try and phrase it how you want to with your vibrato and your bends. Try and manipulate the notes in as many ways as you can. So yeah, let's move on to the next bit, which would essentially be the chorus then. So this next part, which is the chorus, you can basically think around the shape of like a C dominant pentatonic, I like to call it. So we get this sound. In the main melody then, we basically start on the root. Then we're going to go minor 3rd into major 3rd. Then that's the 5th, 6th, and then we're going to bend the flat 7 into the root above the octave. So that's very typical kind of blues. We've got the... So we expand on that further then, so it's basically the second time it goes... And this time I'm going to slide into that flat 7 and bend it up. Again, a bit more vocal-like, a bit more natural sounding, I guess, than just picking every note, if you like. So on the last one, we're going to go then. So all that is basically, again, the minor third into the major third. Root, flat 7 to the 9th, flat 7, and then the 5th down here. So on the very last one, I'm just repeating the same thing up the octave. We'll finish on that last note, which is on the 20th fret. So that actually is the note C. Basically, that's the whole idea with it then. So please do experiment as much as you can. Try all kinds of different vibratos, try as much different bending as you can. Just different ways of manipulating the notes, basically. Try on different strings, whatever you can with it. It's open to interpretation. So there we have it, guys. That was the Cover Tune Chop Shop episode 2, Bang Bang. If you like this video, please subscribe, click the little bell for notifications, like, share, all those kind of things. I'm going to be posting a ton of new content in the future. So I'm looking for suggestions on what you guys would like to see in the Cover Tune Chop Shop. I'm always open for recommendations. Another thing I'd like to point out is that I do have a sale on at the minute on my website on guitar lessons. So all like Modern Chord Playing Volume 1, One Chord Grooves and Improvisation package, the whole lot, even the package bundle, is on sale if you type in the coupon code Summer Sale. So you'll get a nice 25% off whatever you decide to order with. I'm also open for Skype lessons at the minute, so if you're interested in one-to-ones with me, please then send me an email, it should be in the description down there. But yeah, thank you very much again, guys, for checking out the channel. Hope to see you again next time. I'm off. Sayonara.